Why hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. I'm CornySwiss, and today I have a little 2-for-1 deal. In the first replay I'm driving around the Panther ausf, and the second replay taking the IL-2 out, both of which are kind of machines that I've had success in the past. The Panther, which is the focus of this first replay, is just really a good tank. It really is. The competition it sees isn't unfair. It sees an IS-2. Look, there's an IS-2 right across the way. T-34-85s, that's fine. It's when this tank is in its element, which is kind of what we're doing right now, sitting back at range, not being an easy target, and just shelling enemy tanks from range. What I think is really interesting about the Panther is the side armor is horrible, right? It basically doesn't have side armor. If you get hit in the side, you're kind of toast. However, the front armor is more effective than the Tiger's front armor, in the sense that the sloping just really takes away, doesn't take away anything, adds a lot of effective thickness to the armor, making it, in my opinion, better than the Tiger. And what's really interesting when you read up on the Panther is that the Panther was designed as sort of a response to excess numbers of T-34 running around all over the Western Front. German tank designers decided to almost copy some of the ideas that you have with the T-34 in the sense of the sloped armor to increase effective thickness and give the tank a better chance of deflecting shells just based on angling and things like that. Obviously, you don't really see that with the Tiger, because the Tiger is basically just giant flat pieces of armor. Its effective thickness is very close to its actual thickness, whereas the Panther, I believe the upper glacis is 80 millimeters, but in actuality it's much thicker than that, in terms of how much penetration you need to get through it. And at this point in this replay, we're doing okay. We have a bunch of Tigers pushing along the northern part of the map here, but they are being held up by some T-34-85s, which is a little bit of an issue. The position I was in before, where I was shooting the enemy as they were sort of coming up to their positions, was good, but it's not good anymore. So I came up to this other little favorite spot of mine to do a little bit more shooting. And we bagged ourselves an IS-2 in the process. The reason I don't think the Panther is actually overpowered is primarily because it can see IS-2s. And it's actually it is actually at the same battle rating as an IS-2. So the IS-2 has that 122mm gun, which is perfectly adequate for blasting Panthers sky high. And right here I'm making sure that T-34-85 isn't going to sneak around, because he's been a sneaky bastard and trying to work over our Tigers over there. But we're going to have to deal with him, that's for sure. But at this point we've capped one zone, and it's looking fairly good for our chances to cap the others and go on to win this game. Now, at this point I've noticed that our Tigers are starting to get knocked out, which is a little bit of an issue for us, because they're kind of holding that northern flank, and as long as they hold that, it really doesn't matter what the enemy does on the rest of the map. We have C, we have a fair few tanks down there. We're going to cap B now, thanks to the AI that's just sitting in there. So we've basically got a stranglehold on the map. But, as I alluded to earlier, the Tiger got knocked out, which means we're going to have to go over there and deal with that. Now, I know it's a T-34-85, and I do have to be a little worried about his gun. A lucky hit on the front of the turret could hit the shot trap. You'll notice that on Panther turrets, the entire mantlet is rounded, but he's not going to get a chance to shoot me, because after that AAA runs through, I'm going to put one right through his face. What's interesting about the Panther's turret is it's rounded, so the mantlet is rounded, right? So that's good, right? It gives you a better chance of deflection. However, if the enemy shoots the bottom part of the mantlet, it'll actually deflect through the roof of the tank, which can be a serious issue for your driver and your gearbox, because Panthers and a lot of German tanks have front-mounted transmission, which can be a real issue. Now, coming up, I'm not sure if that's exactly what happened to me, but I wouldn't be surprised if the KV-85 I'm going to run into didn't shoot my mantlet and it got the lucky deflection down through my engine and started a transmission fire. But in the meantime, T-3457 was being bold and got 75 millimeters of goodness. And that's something I think that makes the Panther, what made the Panther so fearful, is that the 75 millimeter gun, probably behind the 88, was probably the best anti-tank gun in the war. It doesn't have the, I guess, utility of the 88 because the 88 has such a bigger shell, it can fire HE and be really effective in that role, in more of the infantry support. However, the Panther has the shell, has more penetration, and the muzzle velocity is able to keep a flatter trajectory. However, at Tigers, the 88 millimeter guns were able to hold their penetration at range, at farther ranges, because of the weight of the shell, whereas Panther's shell is much lighter. And this KV-85 gives me the good news. The gun was damaged. I just YOLO'd a shot anyway. And it blew out my turret, blew out my turret, or blew out my turret, blew out my turret, blew out my gun, and blew out my turret. So that's a little unfortunate. But let's move on to the next replay, shall we? And here we are, flying around the IL-2. This is in a realistic battle, because I've been trying to play a lot of realistic battles recently. I've just been picking planes that I think could be decent, or have a defined role that I can go, do that role, and then kind of just move on with life. For the IL-2, I decided, you know what, I'm going to get some practice in the old ground attack role. And I only got 2 targets there, which is a little unfortunate because I'm really bad. But the reason I picked the IL-2, even though it's really, really slow, doesn't hold its speed, and it's just a really heavy aircraft, it doesn't have a bad turn time. It's about 24 seconds, which in terms of turning doesn't seem that bad to me. Now, that AA hit right there is a little unfortunate because he actually is going to cause my water to overheat eventually. Starting to get, it doesn't help that I'm wepping, but I kind of need it because I'm trying to get up here to give the good news to some of these British planes here. And I'm never going to be able to dogfight in this thing, but what I can do is be that sneaky bastard that they ignore because, oh, it's an IL-2, you know, it's not going to chase me down and kill me. Well, these two guys, the Spitfire Mark 1 and this Beaufighter, are going to get the good news. So I just clipped the Beaufighter's left wing, did enough to drive him down, and now the Spitfire has seen the trouble. However, he gets kind of shredded, which is a little unfortunate for him. Alright, so at this point, I kind of realized that the hit I took from the AA is causing my water to overheat, which eventually will lead to my engine overheating and eventually going out. So I kind of need to get back to the airbase. And I don't know if I necessarily want to load up on the bombs, but the rockets could still be useful. So what I was thinking right here was, okay, I'll go back to the airbase, I'll land, get the bombs, get the rockets, get more cannon ammo, and then once I get up off the airfield, I'll drop the bombs to make myself a little lighter, and then come back and help the team out. But looking at my ammo indicator, I've only used about 100 rounds of cannon, so I have about 200 left, plenty of MG, so I might as well have a go over here. See if I can't shoot someone down or give some help to our guys over here, or just be kind of being just wolf-packed. Got hit by, I think, the Corsair, but then he breaks off because I don't think he particularly wants to heads up IL-2. Just trying to get this Spitfire, but he is a sneaky bastard. But we do get to chop off his wing. Or his aileron, rather. But the thing is right here, if I was trying to keep my plane in the air, I probably should have gone back to, what's it called, to rearm and repair. And I'm deciding to do that right here. However, looking behind me, we only have 2 planes that I can see, and they have like 4 or 5 planes here. These guys are hopelessly outnumbered, and one of them is like 12 kilometers away. So that's unfortunate for our guy who's down here, because it's essentially going to mean he has to 1v3. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to come back and have another go, see if I can't make his life a little easier. So I shoot down the Spitfire. He's burning, he's critted, he's done. And now I'm like, okay, now I really need to go back because my oil's overheating, my water's overheating. I might be able to just get this thing into at a decent speed and then turn down the engine a little bit and slide back into base. However, that doesn't change the fact we still have the same issue of that guy basically being 1v4 or 1v3 until I get back. And there you go, there's my water, there's my oil. And at this point I'm just like, well, I'm not going to be able to get this thing back to the base. The water's overheated, the oil's overheated. I'd have to shut the engine most of the way down, and this thing's too heavy to, in my opinion, too heavy to fly all the way back. I still have 100 rounds of cannon, still have a whole bunch of machine gun. So the least I can do is try and at least even the score with this guy. If I can get one of them, I at least give my ally the chance to have a go at least. But obviously that guy kind of, the thing about the IL-2 is it's not a very maneuverable thing just because of how heavy it is. But give this Corsair a little bit of the good news. Would have been better if I could have critted him there. But the goal here isn't for me to shoot him down, it's for me to adjust their flight patterns, I guess I would call it, so that they can't do what the Hellcat there is trying to do and get in on the tail of this lag, I think it is. So I'm trying to harass this guy into changing his course so that the lag can get in behind him and cause some issues. But all the while, my engine's becoming a little bit of an issue. And now all my cannons are out, so I'm just firing MG now. It's going to be an issue for me. But, you know, I'm still trying to help, you know, because I want to win. But it's going to be tough. And long story short, in the end, we don't win. There goes my engine. I tell my teammate my engine's dead, and basically at this point I'm looking to reduce speed, drop the gear, and try and just land it just for those, you know, soft landing points. However, the F6F has seen that I'm flying maybe a little limp and is chasing after me. And he is actually going to be able to shoot me up as I'm trying to land. But we would go on to lose, but it was a good game. It was fun. I've been enjoying realistic battles in planes a lot, so I wanted to share one of the replays. So thanks for watching. I've been CornySwiss, and I'll see you next time.